Hello scholars, this is part 2 of the place value representations here. We're going to take a look at how to fill out a chart similar to this one, which is also similar to your study guide homework. Alright, so looking at this table, you have 3 different ways to represent numbers. You have standard form, expanded form, and expanded notation. Same thing you did at the top. When looking at standard form, that's just simply the way the number is written standardly. Okay, so 7,917. Okay, and then here you have 83,257. So it's just the regular way that the number is written. Expanded form, you are simply adding the value of each digit. And then expanded notation, you're multiplying the digit by what place it's in. So let's start with the top. Here we have 7,917. If you say that slowly, that's going to help you write it in expanded form. So I have 7,000 plus 900 plus 10 plus 7. A lot of kids get confused when it comes to that 1, but you got to remember this 1 is in the what place? The tens place. So that 1 will represent 10 because we all know that 10 plus 7 equals what? 17. Then you have your 900. Then you have your 7,000. Okay? Now looking at our expanded notation, you can see here that this does exactly match what it is that we wrote here in standard form. You want to pay attention to what it is that we're doing here when it comes to what we're multiplying. If you take a look at the next number, we only have expanded form and not standard form. So let's first write this in standard form. Okay, so I have 70,000 plus 2,000 plus 300 plus 9. Okay, so we can kind of use a place value chart here. A simple place value chart will help. I usually like to start off by drawing 4 lines, and I like to label it ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and this is the 10,000s. Okay, so let's take a look here. We have 70,000, so we know that that's going to go in the 7 category. Okay, we have 2,000, that's going to go in the 2,000 category. And then we have 300, that's going to go in the 300s column. And then we have 9, so that will go in the ones place. What do you notice is missing? The tens. So this means we're going to write 0 here. Now we can write our number. This is 72,309. Alrighty. Now we can write this in expanded notation. So what place is the 7 in? 7 is in the 10,000s place. So this is going to be 7 times 10,000 plus, what place is the 2 in? 2 times 1,000. Don't forget your parentheses. Plus, what place is the 3 in? 3 times 100 plus, we don't do the 0, but you can say 0 times 10 because it's still going to get you 0 plus 9 times 1. So it's very imperative that you, 1, don't forget your parentheses. 2, just multiply it by the place it's in. When I say it, I mean multiply the digit by the place that it is in. Alright? I will not take points off if you put 0 times 10. I still just want you to see that in this case we don't have anything in the tens place, so 0 times 10 we know is 0, so I'm just giving you an example as to what you could potentially put, but most of the time I do want you to skip the 0 and go right on to the next unit. Alrighty, so let's take a look at the next one. We have 83,257. Okay, so if I write this in expanded form, if I say it slowly, we know that if I split these numbers up into different units, I know that 8 is in the 10,000s place. Okay, so this is going to be 80,000 because it is 83,000. So it's going to be 80,000 plus 3,000 plus 200, and then we have a 10, 5 tens, which makes 50, plus 7. Okay, and we're now, in this case, we're going to transition this to expanded notation. So as I can see here, 8 is in the what place? The 10,000s place. And if you have to write your letters at the top, that's totally fine too. I believe that that will be very beneficial and helpful. And then this is the 10,000s. Okay, so what place is the 8 in? The 8 is in the 10,000s place. So that's going to be 8 times 10,000. And we know that 8 times 10,000 is 80,000 plus 3 times 1,000 plus 2 times 100 plus 50. Well, in this case, it wouldn't be 50. It'll be 5 times 10 because 5 is in the tens place. 5 times 10. And then the last digit was 7. And we know that that is in the ones place. So that is 7 times 1. Okay. An important thing I like to do when I'm working with place value is write down what these numbers are. And so you want to remember that this is 10. This is 100. And this is helpful for spelling. And then this is 1,000. And then this is 10,000. And then this is 100,000. Okay? 100,000. Okay, and it's important that you notice something here. When we get to the thousands, that's when we introduce the comma, okay? The comma. If you notice, there are 3 zeros after the comma. That represents the ones, tens, hundreds, and then this makes the thousands. Same thing with this one. This represents the ones, tens, hundreds, thousand, 10,000. Okay, and so we know that our thousands numbers are 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and so on, right? What about our 10,000s numbers? 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. Alrighty, and then same thing goes for our hundreds, our 100,000 numbers. We got 100,000. 200,000. What's next? 300,000. As long as you remember that concept of what these numbers are and what they represent, especially those with 10 in them, you'll be just fine. Alrighty, let's take a look at the last 2 problems. Here, we already have expanded notation. Now we got to convert it to expanded form and standard form. Okay, here's what I like to do. I'm going to start with standard form, and I'm going to draw my place value lines, and I highly doubt that you can get confused if you draw these lines. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Alrighty. What place is the 4 in? The 4 is in the 10,000s place. I'm going to put the 4 here. Don't forget your comma. What place is the 2 in? The thousands place. So I'm going to put the 2 in the thousands place. Don't forget your comma right after the 2. What place is the 6 in? 6 is in the tens place. And then what place is the 3 in? It is simply in the ones place. What do you notice? We're missing 800. So in this case, I'm going to write 0. All right, so now I can write my full number of 42,063. Is that correct or incorrect? That is incorrect. Why is this incorrect? Most students will simply forget that they still have to put the 0. Okay, you still have to put the 0 in play. So if you don't put the 0, the answer will be marked wrong because there is still 100 that you have to put in a number like this, even if it is 0. Same thing if it were the tens. If you have a 0 in the tens, hundreds, or thousands, you want to make sure that you put that 0. So this will be 42,063. Okay, don't forget the 0. All right, so now we got to ask ourselves what place is the 4 in. 4 is in the 10,000s place, so this makes 40,000. The 2 is in the thousands place, and the value of the 2 is 2,000. Okay? 0, we can skip it in expanded form. When we add these numbers, the 0 won't make a difference. The 6 is 60 because it's a 10. 6 tens make 60, and the 3 is in the ones place, so that just makes a 3. All right, and so far this is what we have, and I feel like this is going to be very beneficial for you. The next one, we have our number in standard form. Now we just got to make it into expanded form and then expanded notation. Okay, sometimes I like to draw lines to help me out and label them. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. All right, so here I know that I have 4 10,000s. 4 10,000s is 40,000. Okay, plus how many thousands do we have? 2 thousands, or in this case 42 thousands. Okay, we also have 600s, and then we have 3 ones. Now, do you notice something with the previous question we just did? The 6 and the 3 are different. They're in different spots this time, and the 0 is in a different spot. Okay, so let's go ahead and write this in expanded notation. What place is the 4 in? Parentheses, the 4 is in the, we're going to group this. It's going to be 4 times 10,000. Okay, plus, what place is the 2 in? The thousands place. So it's going to be 2 times 1,000. Plus, what place is the 6 in? 6 times 100 makes 600. And then 3 is in the ones place. So don't forget the plus. 3 times 1. Okay, and I know that if I have 4 10,000s blocks, that makes 40,000s. And you're going to see that you're going to get the same thing here in expanded form. 2 times 1,000 makes 2,000. 6 times 100, 600. 3 times 1, 3. It's the same thing with expanded form. You're just explaining how you got this answer. Does that make sense? All right, so you want to make sure that you continue to use these numbers correctly, especially in the correct form. Let's take a look at number 4. Jasper wrote 32,508 as 302, 508. Explain his error and write the number correctly. So let's write his number that he wrote. Let's use a place value chart to make sure that we get this correct. Okay, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Alrighty, so it says 32,000. So I already know that 32 is going to go in this section here. 500. 5 is going to go in hundreds. 8 is a single ones number. So that's 32,508. Is that the same as this number? No. This number is 302,000. And then you have 508. So his error is that he has 302,000 here, and then over what he wrote was 32,000. So he did make a mistake in this case. Using a place value chart is what's going to help you when it comes to questions like this, especially if you make it. So you already know that 32,000, and look at that. As you see, that comes right before the comma. So now you know exactly where to place your numbers. And I want to take a quick step back, and I want to go to this question, and I want to ask you, which number is greater here on these two questions at the top? Is it this number? Or is it this number? which number seems to be the greater number? They look the same, but in reality, they're not. Okay? We do see a 4, we do see a 2, we have 40,000, and then we have 2,000 on both. But look at the hundreds place in both numbers. Okay? If you look at the hundreds place, what do you notice? You notice that this number, the first one is 0, and the second one is 600. Which number is greater? In this case, it's going to be this number. This number is less. So I'm going to use the less than symbol just to symbolize that this is the lesser number out of the two. All right, and that is how you're going to do your lesson 11 homework, especially with writing the numbers in different forms. Thank you.